Hey, Talent Warriors. Welcome to another episode of the Talent War podcast coming to you from blazing hot Texas. A little bit scary that it's hot this early, but we're going to talk about something fun today in another short segment. Today, we're going to talk about culture, but really how your culture affects hiring. So stand by for the 5 ways that culture impacts your hiring. Hey, Talent Warriors, welcome to the 5 ways that your culture impacts your hiring. And, we hear a lot about the great resignation, the great regret. We've talked about those topics, but today we're going to spend 20 or so minutes quickly talking about culture and hiring, because most people really don't think about it. They think of hiring kind of as a separate function. And we've talked about a lot of tips and ways to market your company, market your roles, describe and define success. We talked a lot about those things, but we haven't quite covered culture. And so culture couldn't be more important to your hiring. It really is something that kind of flows through everything that you do when it comes to getting the best talent on board and coaching and mentoring the best talent that you have. And in our book, The Talent War, How Special Operations and Great Organizations Win on Talent, we talk about the first and biggest mistake of companies who aren't winning the war on talent, and that is that they don't have a talent mindset. And having a talent mindset really is a part of your culture. The deep belief that the only true competitive advantage you can hope to achieve and maintain is your talent. And making sure that you truly understand that you need to be treating your talent with the same discipline, rigor, and focus that you do your financial capital. And so the talent mindset is critical to have, because that just permeates your culture, that everybody understands it's not your service, it's not your product, it's not what you're doing in the marketplace, it's not how you relate to your competitors. It's all about your people. As I've said many times, with the post-pandemic, the pandemic, and the great resignation, it is the era of the CHRO. Your HR and your talent acquisition teams are the front line as you fight the war for talent. Like any essential component, they need to be fortified, trained, and supported. Talent War Group's talent acquisition and HR consulting development service helps your organization learn to attract and retain top talent and help you gain an advantage against your competitors. Our current job market, like I said, is the great resignation. And now the great attrition is what you're seeing, and many other names due to the record number of workers quitting their jobs. 52% of the employees are currently looking for a new job. So let us help you get it right, know what the best talent looks like, attract the best talent, and help your company thrive. The Talent War Group brings a unique set of skills to help you take your business to the next level. You can get started by finding us at talentwargroup.com and let us help you develop your next generation of leaders. We had a wonderful leader on the podcast before, Deanne Turner, who was a chief talent officer and spent 33 years at ChickfilA. Now, certainly they've made the news in a lot of ways, but I can tell you from a business standpoint, culture is everything with them, and how they take care of their customers, how they take care of their partners, their employees, all the people that work there. Deanne wrote a great book called Bet on Talent, clearly a leader with a talent mindset. And it was woven throughout their whole culture, and they expanded so rapidly, and they kept this just maniacal focus on talent, and it was part of their culture. And it should be part of yours. Meaning when somebody talks to you about your culture, you should easily be able to say, hey, we have a talent mindset. We bet on talent here every day. Not only do we define success, attract, assess, and hire the best talent out there, but we take great care of our talent. We develop them through coaching, through mentoring, through training, through stretch assignments, through awards and recognition. But to get into really 5 simple ways or 5 descriptors of how culture really truly impacts the hiring process is, first and foremost, if you have a talent mindset that's part of a great culture, the people in your organization don't want to lose that culture. Mike has talked about it endlessly in his speeches. He talked about it in our book, and you even see it in Hollywood when it comes to the military, is they hold the standard high and they take their hiring and their selection seriously. So number one is when you have a great culture with a talent mindset, those good cultures take hiring seriously. They know the fit. They know the attributes and characteristics. They can see better who is going to be additive to the culture. And they'll be able to spot much more easily those people who are going to take away from the culture. Those people who are not going to be team players, team builders, those people who will not be acting with integrity, that may be coin operated first and foremost, any and all kinds of things. But individual contributors and hiring managers and leaders inside of a great culture are going to take the hiring and the selection of your next generation of talent far more seriously. They'll know the fit. They'll know what makes people successful. They'll know who to hire. So first and foremost, good culture begets better hiring. Second, your culture is not limited to inside your organization. We talked about the whole person concept in the book, The Talent War. Well, the whole person today, with the blurring of the social and the professional, that person that comes from a great culture, works in a great culture, thrives in a great culture, is a brand representative out into the market for the talent that you want to attract. So a great culture is also a great brand, and it will find its way outside of your company. People know very, very well from Glassdoor, from Vault, from Indeed, from Google, from friends, from LinkedIn. They know when a company doesn't have a great culture. It's real easy for them to find that. But I know personally, through my over 30 years in the professional world, if you count my military time, when I met people and found out where they worked and what they did, I can immediately tell if they worked at a great place. And to one of our podcasts earlier, people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad bosses. And bad bosses come from a number of things. But a number of bad bosses create a bad culture. And so that word gets out. But alternatively, having that great culture, that is a brand, and people are proud of where they work. Yeah, very common. People used to say, I'm an IBMer, I'm a Googler, I work at Netflix, and they're proud of the brand, they're proud of the culture, they're proud of the people that they work with, that they get to collaborate with, learn from, that they get to coach, that they get to mentor, and that they get to interact with every day. So your great culture, when it comes to impacting hiring, it's your brand. It's your talent brand. And many companies have a great consumer brand, but they may not have a good talent brand. And that talent brand comes from having a strong, good culture. Now, dovetailing off that, number three, is we say in great organizations, Don Robertson, CHRO of Northwestern Mutual, he had several great quotes for our book, and he was on our podcast, and he said, the people with the best talent win. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. But he coined a term that I really love, and I've certainly plagiarized from him, and I want to give Don due credit, is with that great brand and that great culture, it makes you a talent magnet. But one step beyond that is everybody in your company, from the CEO down to the very lowest paid, let's just say, individual in the company, even if it's an intern that's not being paid, everybody's a talent scout. You want everybody on the lookout to add great people to your team. And so they're a brand representative, but with everybody being a talent scout and having the expectation with the talent mindset that everyone in your organization is scouting for good talent and referring good people, that culture, let's put it a much more simple way. If I'm talking to a friend of mine on the soccer pitch at the end and I learn that they work at company A and they have an opening, the conversation that I have with that person is not about the objective or subjective requirements needed for the role. My questions are always, well, why do you like it there? How has your career developed? What are the leaders like? Tell me about the culture. So if everybody's a talent scout, a great culture allows them to describe the feeling and the why that they work for your firm. Adding on to that, I would say kind of 3A out of the top three here is that the number one way to get a job, the number one way to hire the best talent generally has not changed in my decades in the profession, and that is employee referrals. Good people run with good people. A players run with A players. And even A players, if they have a C player friend, they're not referring them into their company. They may be friends with them, but they're not going to go work with them. When you have that strong external brand, which is your culture, number two, and number three, everybody's a talent scout, it leads to 3A, which is employee referrals. You're going to get better employee referrals. You're going to get a better pool of talent to select from for the openings that you have. This episode is sponsored by Talent War Group, a management consulting and executive search firm. We help you attract, retain, and develop your top talent because we know that the most valuable asset within your organization is your talent. With services like leadership development, talent acquisition and HR consulting, executive search, executive coaching, and keynote speeches, we work with you to create talent solutions to your most pressing business problems. You can get started by finding us at talentwargroup.com and let us help you develop your next generation of leaders. Also, if you like what we're doing here at the podcast, please leave a review as it helps us support and continue this podcast. It helps us support people who are really dedicated to improving their business skills and excelling above all else. Another way that culture impacts, and this is kind of embedded in the talent mindset, is in good cultures, the best people want to interview. And Mike and I talk about that endlessly. A players select A players, B players select B players, and C players. They attract and select whatever the cat drag did. But cultures that have a talent mindset, that understand the fit, can articulate the brand, those people are proud to be on interview panels. And they ask to be on interview panels. They ask to look and assess and have their opinion heard as to whether this talent that we're assessing is going to be additive to our culture. A players selecting A players in a good culture, you're going to have a lot more A players. And they're going to want to learn how to interview better. They're going to want to select better, even when it's not for their team. And that was one of the tips that we said when you create a great interview process. You may very well have a panel of 5 or 6 people that this candidate has to go through for a particular role, but we've always advised and counseled that you should take somebody that has more of an agnostic position, somebody completely detached from your team or your department that really doesn't have any investment in this hire other than to make the company stronger. You want an independent view, a good balanced person on that interview panel. And if they're an A player in a strong culture, your odds of selecting the best talent have increased exponentially. So just kind of as a quick recap, great cultures have a talent mindset, the true belief that human capital is your most important asset. It's the only true competitive advantage you can hope to achieve and maintain. And so first and foremost, a great culture is where people take hiring seriously. They know the fit. They know who to hire. They know who's additive. Your brand. Whether you want it outside your organization or not, a strong culture will have a strong talent brand. Number 3, everybody's a talent scout, and your employee referrals and your pool of people to select from is going to be much, much better. A great culture impacts your hiring for reason number 4, which is that the best people are going to want to interview because they love that culture. They do not want to dilute that culture, and they know how hard it is to maintain. And they know how much work that they do and their colleagues do to maintain that good culture. So they're going to carry the burden on their shoulders of selecting great people that are additive to your culture. And save for last, probably the most important thing, the most important impact that culture has on your hiring processes is actually not the hiring itself. Great cultures have lower attrition. Let me say it again. Great cultures have lower attrition. They have less people wanting to move on because, as I said at the beginning, people don't leave good companies and good cultures. They leave bad bosses. And bad bosses don't exist for long in good cultures. They're out of there. Good cultures make better bosses. They make better colleagues. They raise the bar of talent. They make it more selective. And so when people pass through the process of being hired, and you've gone through all of these things and you have a great culture, they are far more likely to stay at your organization and contribute because you're growing, you're developing, mentoring, coaching, training, rewarding, and recognizing that great talent. So as much as we talk about great processes and procedures and how to brand yourself better and assess and select better talent, if you want to improve your hiring processes above and beyond the talent mindset, it's having great leaders that have created a great culture and allows you to keep the talent that you've worked so hard to bring into your company. I know as a manager myself of small teams and large teams, when I get great talent in the door, I don't want to lose them. Attrition means I, as a leader, have made there's something that I missed in the interview process. Now, there is the attrition. I've had plenty of people that I needed to promote them, and the way to promote them was to give them an opportunity or find them an opportunity outside the company. But that's part of growth and mentorship. That's part of being a great leader. But reducing attrition right now should be atop of everybody's mind before hiring faster and hiring better. How do you keep the talent that you have? And a great culture impacts you by keeping your good talent and having you hire less. You know, there's so much, and it's the reason I've stayed in the profession for as long as I have. There's so many facets, so many things that I stay passionate about when it comes to the ecosystem of talent. But having a good culture makes hiring so much easier, and you're hiring less, and you get to take the time to select the best people, to put pressure on them and put them through the challenges necessary to fully assess their ability to thrive and do great things in your organization. When you have a great culture, it's the most powerful thing when it comes to hiring because it means you have a talent mindset. You take hiring seriously. You've got a great brand. Everybody becomes a talent scout. Your referrals go up. The best people interview and great people stay. So for all the things that we talk about in the book, ask yourself today, what can you do to make your culture better? What behaviors as a leader, as an individual contributor, can you do better to make a small mark for all those around you on the team, to make that culture better and stronger, to hold on to your great talent? Once you build a great culture, it's hard to build and it takes time, but it's easy for it to go away. As they say, you gain it in inches and lose it in miles. It's very, very true with culture. And keeping the best people on board and getting the best people to attract even better people and interview and assess those people, you will help sustain that culture. And it becomes a very positive cycle for you in the long run and helps you compete and win in your space. So with that, I hope that's helpful. I wish everybody out there the best in competing in the difficult war for talent, in developing your people, and making the U.S. economy the most powerful force in the world. And with that, have a great week. And thank you for listening to the Talent War podcast, where we discuss all things talent, focusing on a talent mindset, the core belief that the only true competitive advantage you can hope to achieve and maintain is your talent. Join us for the next episode of the Talent War podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you heard, subscribe and please leave a review. Connect with me on Talent War Group's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram accounts and send your comments and inquiries to media@talentwargroup.com. The Talent War podcast is brought to you by the Talent War Group, a management, consulting, and executive search firm. We work with you, bringing services like talent acquisition, leadership development, executive search, executive coaching, seminars, speaking engagements, all to create talent solutions for your most pressing business problems. To get started, visit us at www.talentwargroup.com.